The title of this video is called I'm Mexican, I Guess. And so we're going to go over like conversational wise and just the topic of this phrase and kind of the origins and why we say it. So it'll be more of a kind of like listen, learn, and give back your feedback and questions, right? So first, what is a Mexican? Mexican is a nationality, meaning you have to be born in Mexico in order to be a Mexican. But we come into this dilemma where a lot of Hispanics, they're called Mexican, even if they were born in America, right? In the US. But just because they look Mexican, they get that term Mexican put on them. Or they just assume I'm Mexican, I guess, because they know they look Mexican. But what is Mexican, right? The nationality. But it goes way on before that. So before, Mexican used to mean just the natives of Mexico, right? The Aztecs, they were called the Mexica, and it was them. Those were the Mexicans, the Native Americans of Mexico. But then it became a political term of Mexico, meaning you are a citizen of Mexico, right? So the meaning of the phrase I'm Mexican, I guess, usually is for those individuals that, of course, are born in America and the United States, but they have Mexican descent. Either they're still part of the culture or just a little bit. Maybe they don't even speak Spanish at all, but they use the term I'm Mexican, I guess, because they look Mexican, or some people will think like they're Mexican because of the way they look. So if I look Mexican, then I'm Mexican, I guess, right? That's the problem we have. Now, where does this come from? Like I said before, I think the reason why some people are called Mexicans and some aren't is based on their phenotypical features and the kind of the stereotypes of what a Mexican is, which I think are those of high indigenous blood. I think those people are more likely to be called Mexican than, say, a person of Spanish blood, or the highest amount of Spanish blood, I should say. So I think, again, it's that kind of problem we have in the United States where if you're Hispanic, that's about it. You're just Hispanic. You're not, for like the census and like government identifications that I have to put down, I have to put down white Hispanic. And no matter if my skin's actually white or if it's brown, and I have other friends that are actually white and they're Hispanic, we all have to put white Hispanic, right? But we come again to this dilemma where I wasn't born in Mexico. I don't speak Spanish. I'm part of the Spanish culture in a way with my food and my family where they speak Spanish, but I am Americanized. So if I'm supposed to be Hispanic, but I don't speak Spanish, and I kind of like am distant from the Spanish culture, then what am I? I'm Mexican, I guess? See, that's where it comes. It's like there's this gap that was missing. And that gap is the Indigenous Native Americans. It plays a big role in this and why we say I'm Mexican, I guess. So I can use me and my friend for example. I'm more of the Native American side and he's more of the Spanish side. We both don't speak Spanish. We both were born in the United States. But it wasn't him that was questioning if he was Mexican or not, or if he was Hispanic, right? It was me, because I didn't speak Spanish. I was part of the Spanish culture. But then I was like, well then, why am I still being called Mexican? In fact, why am I being called Indian? And this is where the further we are from the cultures, we lose that disconnect of who we are, because I believe it starts with race, not culture, right? So my race would be Native American. Of course, they don't tell me to put Native American. I've never been told, because only people who are Native American are those that are still in tribes, which doesn't make sense because Native American is a race, not a culture or ethnicity, right? So I'm supposed to be Hispanic, but I don't speak Spanish. So I'm Mexican, I guess? No, I'm Native American, a native Mexican, right? Now, the people who say this, including myself a while ago, are the people that just don't know the history. They haven't realized or acknowledged that they have those indigenous blood. That's why they're being called Mexican. And now I don't have any, I guess, other people to explain their point of views. I don't have any people of more Spanish blood to say that they've had this experience or that they think of themselves as Mexican once they're born in America. But as for me and other people that were like in my situation that had indigenous blood as well, they come across this problem, and it just shows that we're constantly going through these cultural changes, and that it's the race that sticks with us on who we are. And no matter what, we can be any culture, but that will stay the same, right? So I think it's important for people to realize that the reason why they think they're Mexican is actually because they're Native American. They're those Native Mexicans, and their culture was the Hispanic culture, right? The Latino culture as well. But now the small group of individuals like myself are going away and becoming fully like Americanized, right? So now they're questioning themselves like, then what am I if I'm not Hispanic? I don't speak Spanish, because they're missing that disconnect, that loss of Native American and indigenous identity, that race. And of course, once you learn your history, once you realize where your ancestors are from, you can like put the pieces together and then realize all that's kind of like been lost on the way. But it's important that we just learn and regain it, right? We progress our people. We progress what's going on and what is to come. That's why I highly suggest you look in the mirror, because it's your ancestors that look back. That's all I have. See you later.